Hi, creatives. Welcome back for another episode of Deconstructing the Narrative. My name is Erica Seha, and I am your host for this series. And I also am a content creator with SADA Collective. And for today's interview, we got to speak with the lovely Danielle Christian. Unfortunately, from our actual footage, the first little portion of our conversation got cut off. So I'm going to kind of hop in here to kind of detail what was talked about during that time. So that way, as soon as we hop into the next clip, which is the rest of Danielle's story, you guys kind of understand what's going on. Thankfully, all we really lost was Danielle's introduction. So I'm just going to kind of hop in here and introduce her for you guys. So you guys don't have to read like a whole paragraph about her instead of me just kind of describing what Danielle does within the creative industry. And then when we hop over, you'll be able to hear everything else from Danielle's mouth. So that'll be good. But essentially today I got to speak with Danielle Christian. She was so awesome to talk to. Danielle really is a jack of all trades within the creative industry. She does anything from painting to creating jewelry to creating fashion pieces to choreography, pretty much anything that you can think of. Danielle has some sort of knowledge in. But for her, everything really falls under this umbrella of editorial photography. To her, that's really her main passion within the creative industry. So really any project that she's working on from any other area is all being done with the thought that it's going to be shot in this editorial style. And so it's kind of really cool to hear how she kind of incorporates all these different crafts and has kind of picked up all these different crafts throughout her time. Just to kind of move them over and incorporate them into her, main passion, which is this editorial style shooting. So if you want to hear a little bit more about Danielle's story and her thoughts on the creative industry today, please keep watching. And thank you guys so much for being so patient when we kind of run into these technological problems, given the time and everything that's going on. Sometimes the internet can be a little spotty. So we hope you guys understand. And if you want to hear more about Danielle's story, continue watching this video.
But
that's awesome.
Yeah, I use it as marketing, but like I also want to do photo shoots that aren't just for marketing, like so that I can do more spreads and more storytelling.
Awesome. Super cool. And what kind of got you into photography? Because it seems like that's kind of where everything leads back to. So can you kind of let us in a little bit on what started this passion for photography and how you kind of made the choice to, I guess, go and, pick up all these other different kinds of, techniques and kind of incorporate them in with your photography?
I would say I went in college a few years ago. I started with fashion. So making clothes was the first thing. And I used to make clothes for all the events that I went to because who can afford actually nice dresses?
Yeah.
So I would always make my clothes and jewelry and everything for that. And then I was making really nice clothes. I was like, I want a good picture of this. And then nobody took good pictures of it.
Yeah.
So I started doing them myself, and I was like, I like this more than actually making the clothes. Let me just try this. And then I took like one photography class, and here I am now.
That's awesome. So you kind of just wanted to take over like the whole like vision of like creating something versus like seeing it come out and like kind of get marketed to like, the outside world. I love that. That's super cool. Awesome. And I guess what is like the story you would say? Because I know you kind of do a lot of, you do a lot of things. Is there a specific like narrative that you would say really encapsulates your like overall creative like realm? Like what would you say the one thing is that kind of connects everything, I guess, that you do?
I would say that everything I do is like, it's like a depiction of my reality. Mm-hmm. So like, it's how I see everything. So everyone might see this painting different and like interpret it different ways. But like the clothes that I make, they're specific to me. Like most of my stuff comes in dreams. So it's like literally all I do is just take that and make it a reality.
Yeah. Definitely. That's awesome. Super dope. Cool. All right. So can you talk about, I guess, like, have you had any specific moments, like, I guess within your like creative like path that really inspired you? Like, have you had like a moment or encountered a moment that like really inspired you to like create something? And can you kind of let us in on like, I guess, the story behind it and I guess what came out of it? What like creative like piece or photo, whatever it may be, what came out of this like instance?
Let me see. There's so many. The one that I can think of is the first painting I did. Mm-hmm. Another thing that connects all of my things is that you can do all this thing. You can be editorial photographer, you can be a fine artist without being, I have no training, honestly.
Yeah.
And also without money, because like I don't have that. Like I everything
Yeah.
I use, like thrift store, like the photo shoot I did was craft paper and
Love that.
sheets. So my first painting that I did was from like my apartment in school, and we were just moving in. We saw this board that was like left from the last tenants, and it was just literally a huge 5-foot random board at the doorway. And I was like, we need to move this. So it was just drywall, and I was like, I want to create something out of this. So that's kind of like how all of my stuff starts, where it's like, this is a random piece of nothing and I would like to make something out of it. So it was that's how my first painting came about. It's actually in the hallway, but it's like 5.5 feet, so I don't know if I want to go get that.
That's awesome. No, I love that. I love that. And I think it's so important too, because I feel like a lot of the times like people will put off starting like a creative craft because like you think you need all this, like all these resources and like training and all these things. And like I think you're so right. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the times you really don't. Like it's really just all about picking up like pen to paper or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like and kind of just like working with it. And I feel like that in itself is like a story. So I love that you kind of are like, you know, incorporating that aspect of every, you know, the creative industry into your craft, because I feel like, you know, that's something that really needs to get touched on. I think it's just really hard because you hop on like Instagram or social media and you see all these like perfect pieces and you're like, damn, that probably took so many resources and so much this and that, like there's no way I could do that, you know. But like sometimes like I feel like the best like pieces come out of like, you know, the most like unexpected like, you know, supplies, you know. So that's really cool. I really love that.
Aluminum foil or something, like
exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I saw this like girl who did a shoe on like Pinterest or something, I think, and she used like aluminum foil and it was like so freaking cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's
right?
literally like in sitting in your kitchen, like it's so
Literally,
cool.
my bedroom is so small, and I was like,
Yeah,
I'll make this work.
yeah, exactly. I love it. That's amazing. Sweet. Okay. I guess so more generally, what is like the role you would say that a creative plays in like today's society, especially, you know, with everything going on in the world, that has been going on in the world, you know, for the past year, 2 years, however it may be. What would you say that like we as creatives have, like what responsibility do we have in this society?
I think that creatives, I realized this from talking to other people that like don't consider themselves creatives, even though I think everyone is a little creative. But we have the ability to see something out of something that is not.
Yeah.
So everyone sees that something that is not. This whole year is like trash for everyone, but like we're able to take something out of that and create. And I think that gives hope to other people to be like, oh, everything isn't going to crap just yet.
Yeah, definitely.
Still keep putting ideas in people's minds when they can't get them for themselves.
Definitely. Yes. And I love that that kind of ties back to like, you know, like the mediums that you're creating with too, the fact that you like see the creative industry and our creative stance in the industry that way. And then also you're working with like, you know, things that aren't necessarily like what people would envision as like supplies, you know what I mean? I think that it's really cool that it kind of all ties together and it seems like you have like a really solid like narrative kind of flowing throughout all of your work. So I love that. Okay, cool. And then what is like, have you had any like really like pivotal responses from anybody, I guess to like any of your pieces or works? And I guess what was it? And what like impression did it leave on you as like an artist?
Let me see. A lot of people tell me like, oh, a lot of people give me feedback where it's like, oh, I think it would be really cool if you did this, and that. I'm like, I love that. But then
Uh-huh.
sometimes it's like complete, like, you know what I do. Why would you ask me to do a 3D
Yeah.
car and
Yeah.
build it from, like, I'm sorry. So like that
Yeah.
just tells me, like, you know what you're doing and stick to that. And also that was like just like a general thing. But this one specifically, this painting, it was a custom piece for someone. And they didn't like it, and I was like, wait. I was like, man, but I love it. So like, am I not good? Because then she started buying other things. I'm like, oh my God. But then it's like, don't compare yourself, because I wouldn't be like continuing to create if I stopped there. But like, I love it, so that's
That's
all
all that
that really matters.
matters. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I feel like if you have like a specific vision, you know what I mean? Like stick with it, because not everybody's going to resonate with like the message or vision that you have for like your pieces. But like oftentimes I feel like, what they say, like one person, like what do they call it? Like one person's trash is one person's treasure. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
someone's like, I do not vibe with that at all. Like another person is like, that's like the best thing I've ever seen. You know what I mean? So I think it's just, it's all about catering to like the right like people, like who kind of resonate with you.
Yes. And I don't know why that reminded me, but also another thing that helps me stay motivated with that too, when I'm not like trying not to compare to other people, is that like money. Like creatives, it's so hard. It's like a cycle. Like you need to create to have money, but you don't want to create to have money,
Yeah.
So like try not to like use that as your motivation. Like always keep your vision as your motivation. And that's like another thing that has to keep, especially during COVID, that's the thing that's like
keeps you going.
Like recurring. Like I have to create for myself and not for money, because then you'll just lose everything.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like when you fall into that trap too, it gets hard because like again with like, everything that's out there on the internet, you know what I mean? Like you're constantly comparing yourself, and then like you're never gonna be like enough in your own head, So like when you lose sight of that vision, like it's exactly what happens. It gets really hard to like stay motivated to like keep creating, because you're not even creating like what you like, you're just creating what you think you need to be like, creating, you know what I mean?
I feel like this, so I guess I'll make it.
Yeah, exactly. And that just gets like really exhausting really quick. So yeah, 100%. Cool. And then what is like a source of inspiration for you? Like what are some of your favorite artists? And also what is a dream project that like you have for your career? Like, what is like the culmination that you're kind of wanting to or hoping to get to?
Okay, so first you said inspiration. Okay, there's like different areas. So Lindsay Adler I really like, especially because she puts out a lot of like tutorials and stuff and master classes. So like I get to learn from her work and also be inspired by her work. Rauschenberg, when that comes to painting, like putting a lot of collage stuff and like everything being just all over the place, but it still goes together. Basquiat, I did a portrait of him, and that was definitely an inspirational piece I really liked. And like he's just so offbeat, but also on the beat. And it makes sense. And then one more photographer is obviously Tyler Mitchell, because why not?
Awesome.
You said the
dream project.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually started planning this like the end of last year, but COVID. So, but it's a good thing because now I have time to like get more models and actually plan it with money. But I want to do I do so many things that I want them all to be in one place. So I was gonna do a fashion / art show, but hopefully this is the dream project. So obviously I have none of these resources yet. I would be able to do like a donation, a fundraiser, and then like whatever fundraiser I'm doing it for, like the people that are involved in that fundraiser. So if it's for kids or for a certain type of person or something, I would be able to do photo shoots with those people, and those can be featured at the show as well.
Yeah.
So like fashion, I also do choreography, so like that could be incorporated too. And then like the photography would be featured, and fine art, everything would be featured in one place where everyone can just like be able to just be encapsulated by art.
That's amazing. Kind of just like one of those like immersive like experiences that's just got so much going on. Those are my favorite kinds of like exhibits that I've been to, because it's just like it's just more than one thing. You know what I mean? Like when there's like
I'm not just standing there looking at something.
Exactly. Yeah. There's like experiences going on, and then obviously you're looking at art. Yeah, it's really cool. Those are really cool. And I think it's really cool too when like people are like in those exhibits, because you have so much conversation that can be going on with like so many different, so many different things. That's awesome. That'd be really dope. So you had this plan, and then like COVID hit, and then did it kind of just X everything out, or?
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna hold workshops to teach people the choreography. I had an MC lined up. I just had to like look. I had to find locations and stuff like that. But then once the location thing got shut down, and then you can't have more than 10 people, and I was like, bet.
Yeah. That's just how it be. Yeah, this year's a tough one, but that's awesome. Yeah, I think if anything, like it's like in the cards that like it needs more time and love, and you know what I mean. I think
it needed more time.
Yeah, exactly. So like being able to come back and then like have it all just like set up is going to be amazing because you had that time to kind of like sit and like, you know, like think of all the different
Yeah.
components and stuff. That's awesome though.
And
Yeah.
actually get it together.
Exactly. Sometimes COVID's for the best, not in a lot of ways,
Yeah, no,
but
no.
you know, for artists, I think it's been really cool. I don't want to say cool. That's probably not the word I want to use, but it's been good for the fact that from based off of everybody I've spoken with, all this extra time to
Beneficial,
really
I would say.
beneficial, yes, to like, you know, just spend time on your craft, you know what I mean, this time that we all like don't necessarily have like day to day, you know, it's hard as an artist because you're working a job and then you have to come home and then like spend time creating, and you know what I mean, it's all about, you know, you got to make the money to like put it into like your craft, you know. So yeah, it gets tough. So I think that's the upside of COVID, that we've all gotten to like, you know, spend that
Definitely.
time like dealing with these projects that we have like envisioned, you know what I mean. I know for me that's been really awesome, so I like to hear that that's kind of working in your favor too. It's really cool.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. And then what is something that you know now that you wish you knew like when you first started? And like by that I mean like what is something that like you've learned throughout your time like so far as a creative that you would like give as advice to like you when you were like fresh to the creative
Like
scene, like
fresh
just
out.
starting? Yeah.
Um, I would say definitely not comparing yourself, but like everyone tells themselves that all the time. But I would also say it's kind of along the same line, but don't be afraid to start, because everything has to be perfect. I can't put this out until I learn how to do this. I can't do this until blah blah blah. But I'm like, just do it.
Yeah.
Because even if it's trash, it's better that you put something out a million times than only put one thing out every 10 years, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think just like getting going. Yeah. And I think it just goes back to like what you were saying earlier, this like thought of like not having to stress over like resources or like everything, you know, just kind of like do it. Like with whatever's there,
Yeah.
just like go
You
for
don't
it.
need to. You just whatever your ideas, start there, and then you can always go back to it if you don't think it's perfect.
Yeah,
Nothing
exactly.
in the world.
Definitely. Yeah. And like it's also just for you. Like your art is for you. You know what I mean? So like it's like what are you, who are you trying to please? You know what I mean? Like that's your
You're trying to do
story.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. And do you have a like moment of doubt like throughout any point in your career though, like so far? Do you have like a specific moment of doubt or something like a story that you can tell us of something that kind of didn't maybe go exactly how you planned? And can you kind of listen on how you overcame that situation?
Let me see. There okay, so there was I honestly time has become 1 year, so
It's
I
all
don't know.
blurred. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly don't know if this is this last year. Anyway, I was when I graduated, and I was like, okay, I got a marketing degree, so
Mhm.
literally not at all related to creativity, really. I didn't
Yeah.
get the advertising one. I got like straight business.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, well, I don't want to do that. I kind of want to do fashion. I kind of want to do photography and all that. So I know what I want to do. I'm like, but if I know what I want to do, why do I not have a job? So I
Mhm.
was like, it's still, uh, it just like hasn't happened, you know? And
Mhm.
that's like, it's still a recurring moment of doubt, but
Mhm.
like I'm working through it now, even by telling myself that like I'm creating for me and I'm not creating to get famous or
Yeah.
anything. I'm creating to
Mhm.
put something out and get
Mhm.
all these ideas that are constantly in my head to just actually get them out so people can see them, because that's the goal. It's not for me to be on every magazine. Like that's not really my goal. My goal is for people to see my work and be inspired by it, and for someone else to be able to be like, I don't have to have all of this and have 10 million lenses and $1,000 grant to
Yeah.
create, because I
Mhm.
have maybe $100.
Mhm.
So like the recurring moment of doubt is like no one has really I haven't really been discovered, I guess, but also that's like it's part of me, it's part of the process of me getting um into my confidence, because it's like no one has to discover me, because that's not the point.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
like yeah.
Yeah, definitely. No, I love that. And I think it is hard because we hit these moments, and it's also difficult, like us, like retracting from what I'm about to say,
Mhm.
because you entered this like industry, you know what I mean? And you're told all the time that, like, there's this starving artist notion, you know what I mean? Like, you go into this industry and people are constantly telling you like, oh, you're not going to make money, like you're not going to like be successful. It's like these constant like, buzzing in your ear
Yeah.
as a creative that you're constantly hearing. And I think it gets really easy to fall into that trap, especially like, when you have graduated school, kind of like your situation, and like maybe things haven't just like hit the ground. You know what I mean? It becomes really difficult, but I love that you're kind of really taking that and, turning it into this focus period for like your craft. You know what I mean? Because I just think that, if you're doing what you love, like money will come. You know what I mean? I think that's
Yes,
something that I
thank you.
stand by so much. Yeah. And so just like working your butt off, you know what I mean? And then kind of just seeing what comes out of it. I think that that's like, the best thing you can do as a creative is just kind of like believing in like just always believing in like your story and what you're trying to tell. And like the rest will kind of fall into place, cause like, it just gets really easy to fall into everything and to like see all these successful artists and people and be like, hey, like, why isn't that happening to me? Like, why am I not getting my big break? But like, I think everybody's journey is just different. You know what I mean? And like, I think as a creative, we need to understand that everybody's path is not going to be the same. And yeah, I think that's really cool that you've kind of like realized that and that you've taken this time. And it's kind of cool that like it kind of aligned with this COVID thing, so you've really had
Yeah,
that extra time to like really put
I really think
100%
about it.
into it. Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
because because I did, like, I was doing the like job and then come home and try to create, and
Mhm.
then tired and then just
Yeah, it's a
so
lot. Mhm.
so once COVID started, I was like, oh, you're laid off. I was like, is this really the worst thing?
Yeah.
So I was able to
Exactly.
launch my website, and
Mhm.
like I got my first few orders. I actually got one that, like, for my birthday. I was like, what? That's great.
Oh
So
wow.
so like I was able to do that because I definitely wouldn't have launched my website or have done as many photos if I still had a job. Because first of all, daylight is
Yeah.
a whole nother issue, but
Yeah.
just the fact
Yeah.
that I actually have time to even think and take time to rest, like, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that's really cool. And I think, just keep putting in the time. And like, I just think, everything turns around like in its due
Yeah.
time. And it's gonna be really cool just to see like what you do. And, we come out of this like, period. And you get this project that you had, this like dream project that you had going before, post COVID, what that's gonna look like, probably to be, this more extravagant and better than you could have ever planned like in the beginning. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome to
Oh,
really see come to fruition.
and I completely forgot.
Yeah.
My another project that I'm working on.
Mhm.
My cousin, she competed in Miss Florida last year, but she's competing again this year. And I'm so grateful that she's like chose me as her designer for like all the events that she goes to.
Oh
So I'm
wow.
able to like create all of her dresses. If I'm able to go to the events, I'm making all of my dresses, and a couple of other contestants, I'm making their dresses.
Oh my gosh,
So
how
I'm
cool.
able to like even just get awareness for my work,
Mhm.
like in
Yeah.
Florida. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's so cool. Wow. Yeah. See, it's all
He's
about
like,
just connecting.
yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So cool. Wow, congratulations. That's awesome. Cool. It's just another thing on the resume, another thing on the books, you know what I mean? So that's really, really, really cool.
Mhm.
Sweet. And then I guess just like culmination of everything, what is some advice you would have for like younger creatives who are just now entering the scene? And like, we kind of talked a lot about, this like difficulty of entering the creative industry, you know what I mean? And how like hard it can be on, on your mind, you know what I mean? Like you're
Mine,
constantly
yeah.
being told these things, so what is some advice you would give to someone who's fresh like into the creative scene and is kind of like looking for a place to start? What is like the biggest amount of advice you could give to somebody like that?
I would say just try it. Try whatever you want
Mhm.
to try. Because if you go and say, "Oh, I definitely want to be a painter," and that's it, and what kind of painting? Try whatever you can, like whatever you have the ability to try. Like I would try oil painting once I have enough money. I'm gonna try and do that. But like, don't
Mhm.
limit yourself by saying, "Oh, this is the thing that I think that I can do, so I'm just gonna do that." Try
Mhm.
whatever you can. If you're trash and you hate it, whatever. If you're trash and you love it, keep working on it.
Yeah.
and specifically for photography, I have had a couple of people ask me like, oh, how do I get into it? Blah, blah, blah. This is more specific, but figure out what kind of photography you want to get into, because if you want to get into portrait, you're going to be practicing different things than if you're getting to landscape versus what you're getting to editorial versus fashion. So just figure out what area you want to do. You can try it all. I tried landscape and I hated it. So I would say try it all if you can. Like do whatever you can with it, whatever abilities you can, whatever resources you have, try it all.
Yeah, I really resonate with that as well, because I also do photography. That's like my main creative niche. And you don't realize how like different every area of photo is. Like there's so many different things you can do with photo, and like they're all so different. And like the skill sets for like each like area of photo are so different. It's like a whole
like
different
editing.
world of exactly. And
some
people,
what are you focusing on? Like
I love that you said, to take the time and kind of figure out and do a little bit of everything before you figure out, because especially with photo, you really have to be immersed in like into like what you're shooting, otherwise it's just like so the worst, you know what I mean?
Like,
so
it doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
First, it will not make sense. Whatever you do, it might be trash. Like whatever you do is probably gonna be like, what are you doing? But once you actually figure out what you want to do, then you can figure out your own personal style, and then that's where everything will take off.
Yeah, I love that. That's so true, and that's really true for any like creative, I feel like, niche in general. There's so many different like niches within a niche. You know what I mean? Of creative fields, and I think just exploring those. And also, I love that you kind of mentioned just like tapping into other ones too, because like I found too, I've worked with other mediums, like as well, and you just realize that you like have like a knack for something that you didn't even like ever envision yourself doing. You know what I mean? I mean, you of all people, like you're a jack of all trades. You know what I mean? Doing all these amazing things. So yeah, I think that's awesome. Just great advice. Just kind of lend to like younger creatives, just to kind of tap into everything and figure out what it is that you're like good at, and even if you're not good at it, keep working at it if it's something that like you enjoy doing.
If you like it, it does not matter what anyone else thinks.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. It's been so awesome talking to you. And I do want to let you know, and everybody who's watching, so we just launched our digital community, Creatives Only. It's really cool. I'm really excited about it. We are just kind of building up right now. But essentially what it is it's this creative community where you can go in. It's kind of like the hub for all things creative. So as a creative, like let's say, if you're looking for someone like a model that you need, you can go in there and say, hey, I need a model, I'm doing a shoot. Or if you wanted to maybe work with like a set designer to like build a set for one of your shoots, you can kind of go in there. It's kind of that, talking to other creatives and kind of working and collaborating on different projects. Exactly. And then we have a lot of other stuff going on in there. We're gonna have a lot of opportunities offered for artists that are gonna be specifically within the digital platform. A lot of events ran by creatives. So like you, for example, if you wanted to hop in there and like teach somebody about one of the amazing things that you're doing, you know what I mean? You could do that. So the point is to kind of just have constant events, digital events going on from other creatives. So you can, I as a creative who's just joining the community, could hop on and like kind of see and like learn from other people. Different kinds of things within the creative industry. We have so much stuff going on there. It's just literally like a few things, but it's just going to be basically, like I said, like this home for creatives. So I'll definitely send you over a link for a trial period so you can kind of take a look around and get to know other people. And I would love to see you in there. And I'd also love to chat with you about doing an event since you're so, so multifaceted. That'd be really cool. Awesome. Perfect. And then for anybody else who's watching, I'll put the link down below where you can apply for the community. We are doing applications just because we really want this like tight knit of creatives who are actually going to be like interacting with each other. This isn't like something where you're just going to hop in and like see people's names and not know who they are. This is going to be something that's very tight knit, like family oriented type of room of creatives. So we are doing application processes for that. We just want to make sure everybody's values kind of align, because we really are all about this collaboration and networking, and we just really want this to be a space that people feel comfortable coming to and actually like chatting with people. So I'll put that down below. If you feel like you'd be a great fit, please go ahead and apply for that. We're kind of building up from the ground up, and I'm so excited to see it take off and just see all the like, you guys kind of connect with each other. That's what I'm so excited to kind of see grow. So we've got that going on. We've got a bunch of events going on right now. And Yeah, and then we also have Conversation Pit. I don't know if you know about Conversation Pit, Danielle, but it's every week on Wednesday. Yeah, and we basically I have just moved over, so now Conversation Pit's going to be mainly be like a show and tell. We did this last week. We had a pretty small group, but it was so beneficial. Like they both brought work and did screen share and like kind of shared their work, and then we were all able to kind of give feedback and kind of talk about what's going on, kind of like a critique style. If you kind of have ever been one of those session. So you can kind of just really feel like you're getting like that experience of talking to other creatives. And I feel like, this collaboration aspect is so important because like, one creative mind could have an idea that like you maybe never had or vice versa. And it could just make your project that much better. So we've got that going on. And yeah, and then deconstructing the narrative, of course. And if anybody else would like to be interviewed for this, I will have the application link down below as well. And other than that, Danielle, do you have any social media or anything where people can reach you if they have any questions?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Djene Designs, so DJENE and then designs. And then my website is literally the same thing, and my email is the same thing. So, and I don't get that many messages, so if you have any questions or anything, let me know.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this, Danielle. Thank you everybody for watching. And I really look forward to seeing you guys all in Creatives Only. And I look forward to doing another episode. So I'll talk to you guys all soon. Bye.